Excellent. Welcome back. Short break. So this session is a crash course in cross filters for reports. So you've just sat through the deluxe report type um, content, and it's really a great foundation for everything I'm going to show you here. This is sort of taking it to the next level when maybe a deluxe report type doesn't get you exactly what you want. I will be building out a few examples and walking through some pretty simple use cases just to show you how cross filters can help. Let's start with what is a cross filter and how does that help us in the reporting world? They allow you to filter a list of records based on the presence or absence of related child records. So if you want to do something like show me records that have at least one child record in X object meeting Y criteria, a cross filter can help you do that. Or alternatively, you can say, show me records that do not have any child records in X object meeting Y criteria. A lot of cross filters, like specialness, is it prevents you from having to export two different reports, take it into Excel, and cross-reference the results of one against another in order to get the report you want in the end. So this is a standard feature of the native report builder tool. There's nothing you need to purchase here. It's really just advanced filtering logic so that you don't have to do that using some other means. So where do you add a cross filter? I was talking to a longtime Salesforce consultant and I asked him, have you ever added a cross filter to a report? And he was like, no, where's that? I'm like, oh, it's right on the report tab in the drop-down menu. He's like, oh yeah, I've seen that. I've never clicked on it. I was like, what? Okay. You haven't been curious? Like, it's not going to blow anything up. Like, just play with it a bit. So this is where you find it on the filters tab. If you've just always avoided this, this is exactly what we're talking about here today. Adding a cross filter is just a few clicks from that filters action menu. And there's really 4 parts to a cross filter. You can start with any object that's enforced in the report type. Now, this is key for a few of the examples we'll go through. For all the deluxe report types we just built, you're only going to have one option as your starting point for a cross filter, which is still useful, but just be mindful of what's controlling that first option is the objects enforced in your report type configuration. So that's that object relationships page with the Venn diagram. Option 2 is using the with or without operator. And we'll walk through examples of both of those. They behave 100% opposite of each other. So if you're familiar with Boolean logic and having your ands wrapped in parentheses versus an or, like this is all going to be right up your alley. Step 3 is choosing the secondary object. It can be any child object from what you chose in step 1. Step 3 here has nothing to do with your report type configuration. So it's super powerful in that sense to choose any child object. It just relies on a relationship existing from that child object up to the object you chose in step 1. Step 4 is optional, but insanely powerful. You can add additional criteria for the child records as part of your filter. So we'll start simple and we'll build up to get a little more complex here and start using all 4 of these levers from our cross filter. So here's the 5 examples we're going to go through really quickly. First example is there's a report request that says, hey, I want to display a list of accounts that had opportunities closed this year. In the real world, maybe you want to invite all of your current year clients to the holiday party. So you need a unique list of accounts, but you just want to make sure each one of those accounts had at least one opportunity to close in the current year, and then you'll send them an invitation to the holiday party. So coming back to like report granularity and making sure we're getting the right type of results in our report results, we want a list of account records. We can use an accounts deluxe report type for this. We could also use the accounts standard report type for this. The key here is we just want our report results to show us one row for every account record. Now we're going to add a cross filter that allows us to filter our account records based on the presence of its child opportunities. Let me show you just how we do that.
Thanks.
So I'm going to use that accounts deluxe report type. Every row in my report results will be an account record. I will clear these default filters, and then we're going to add our cross filter. So at this point, I'm looking at all account records, no filters being applied. I will add my cross filter, and I can start with accounts as my primary object. I want to find accounts that have at least one. That's sort of the way I translate this with operator is accounts that have at least one opportunity. I'll click apply. Now at this point, this is already filtered my results. I'm now looking at a list of account records, and each one of them has at least one opportunity. That's great for some use cases. For what we're trying to do here, we want to make sure that each account had an opportunity that closed this year. So I want to make sure the stage is closed one, and I want to make sure the close date is this year. So within my cross filter, I can add additional criteria, and all of these fields are fields from the opportunity object. So even though I can't add an opportunity field as a filter here, I don't have the stage field. I can't add stage as a column because I'm reporting on account records. I can add a stage filter to my cross filter that's filtering against opportunity records. So I'll say I want to make sure the stage for these opportunities is closed one. I want to make sure that the close date is equal to this year. I like to use relative filters. What this does is saves you from hard coding dates into your report, and then you have to go update those reports every year to switch them over to the new year. So if you're going to run this holiday list report in every November, December of the year, you can just set up a relative date filter using date literals. There's a whole list of them in Salesforce Help. They tell you that right here. Use that relative date option and just type in like this year in all caps, and you'll get a relative date filter. Great point. I'm probably in an organization that doesn't have data that meets my criteria, but what this has done is it's filtered down my opportunities. Let me just set this to a previous year that I know I have some data. And you can see how these relative date filters work. So I've filtered my account records. What I really like to do is on the edit screen of a report, this is really good for any sort of report debugging. If you start at the top and read from top to bottom, it'll tell you exactly what you're getting in the results of this report. We are looking at a list of all account records. I'm looking at all accounts created all the time, and each one of these accounts has an opportunity where the stage is closed one and close date equals last year. So taking all of that together, I've filtered my account records. I can add those address fields like street, and so I can send my invitations to all of these accounts. Second example here, if you're working with campaigns, cross filters are a game changer to help you manage your campaign members and automatically add contacts to upcoming campaigns, referencing past campaigns. There's a ton of cool stuff you can do with this. I want to highlight a couple other things with cross filters at this point. So you can add up to 3 cross filters to a single report. They're always evaluated against each other and all of your other field filters using AND logic. So you won't be able to customize that filtering logic between your cross filters. It's always joined together with AND logic. Let's say we wanted to find contacts who responded to 3 different campaigns. We want our report results to show us contact records. So I'm going to create a new report and make sure that my results will give me contact records. I have a contacts deluxe custom report type. Each detail row represents a contact record. I can come into the filters and clear some of these defaults. and I will add my first cross filter. So here is where we'll see I have access to any child object from contact. One of those child objects is called campaign history. That gives you access to the campaign member details. So this will be contacts that have at least one campaign member where the campaign type.
Evan,
Yeah,
can I interrupt? The
sure.
campaign history, is that a standard object or was that a custom object?
This is a standard object.
Okay.
And I'll point out that the label that gets used here is the related list label on that relationship field.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And if that doesn't make sense, I will pull it up real quick. So, because that throws a lot of people for a loop, especially with some of these managed packages, like NPSP is a good one for this. They've changed some of their labels to like do not use. So that's what shows up here in the cross filter option. And I've actually helped people go change that label to something that's a little more useful because they are going to use it for cross filters. So let me show you where that is real quick. Under campaign member, if we look at the fields and relationships and look at this contact relationship, contact campaign members, for any of your custom fields, you'll be able to edit this and change the name of the relationship field. This is a standard field, so they actually don't show it here in the UI. You get the idea though. Go look at the relationship field on your child object if you want to change the label that shows up when you're choosing it via the options here. Okay, so I have my first cross filter. It's narrowed down my results to one contact here. So I know that Andy Young has at least one campaign member record against a webinar. I can add additional cross filters to further narrow this down. Once you have the results you want and you save the report, you get the option to take all of the contact records that meet your filter criteria and add them to another campaign. So you don't have to use data loader. You don't have to export your data, get the IDs and upload campaign members. I could say like, filter all my contact records for people who came to last year's holiday party, and I want to add them as invitees to this year's holiday party. You could do, just the people who actually attended last year's holiday party, people who were invited, people who said no. Whatever statuses you have on those records, you can use that as filter conditions in order to add them to upcoming campaigns. So I find cross filters immensely useful in the campaign world to help you take action based on your historical data to act on upcoming initiatives that you're doing.
Okay, Ivan.
Yeah.
Question. If you create your deluxe report type and you include contact name, but you don't include contact ID to this type, will you get this button contact add contacts to complete?
Yeah. So on a custom report type, as long as the contact object is enforced, it has to be enforced in the report type configuration in order to get that add to campaign button. So I've done it in a Contacts Deluxe custom report type, especially what you're seeing here. I'm using a custom report type for this. It does show up in one of the standard contact report types. And it would also show up if you set up a different object like accounts as the primary and you relate contacts as a secondary object with the every account must have a contact option. You'll also see this add to campaign button because contacts are going to be the detail rows in your report.
Yeah, my question is about no, I'm just
do you need the ID?
Yeah, this is if you do two levels, let's see on first level on base object, you don't have contact ID, but you have two levels above, and you
Yes.
get to this, and if you include contact ID to be part of report types, plus contact name and other things.
Yeah.
My question is, will this invoke this button to show off on the report? Because it's never defined exactly
Right.
how you get this button to show off unless you use start version of the base that already have it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's really just tied to the whoop. It's tied to the contact object being enforced in the report type. I don't think you have to have the ID. I think you just need contact specified in the object relationships at the bottom of the hierarchy.
Yeah, but I'm trying to reuse this on the deep level.
Yeah.
That has loosey connection with contacts using the another relationship,
Oh, like if you're going to start here and go down.
Yeah, let's say you start on opportunity items, and then you go and you read account primary contact or something like that. Will this invoke the button?
No.
No, because you won't have contacts in your object relationships.
But you have contact ID.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you have to have the contact object in the relationships here in order to get this button to show up.
I understand this. I was just trying to explore
To see if maybe
can we cheat with this by
No. Yeah.
contact ID from somewhere else?
Right. No, I wish. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no cheating. Salesforce has locked it down. So you have to have contacts in the object relationships here to get this button. But yeah, great question. Good thinking. Good strategy. Yeah, if you're using some other objects as the details, then you'll have to export and use data loader or something to work with the campaigns. Let's keep going here. So we have a couple a little bit more advanced scenarios. So cross filters allow you to do things like apply a filter against sibling records. So this example here is I want to display a list of opportunities that are related to accounts that have open cases. There is no direct relationship between the case records and the opportunity records. They are both related to a common parent account. And we can use a combination of a custom report type configuration and a cross filter in order to generate these results. Now, the real world example here is the support team for an organization wants to figure out like how much money that they're holding up on the sales side for the cases that are open. So they wanted to get a total of the open opportunities that are related to accounts that have open cases. Or the sales team might be trying to show that support team like, hey, you're really holding us up by this amount of money because we can't close these deals because those accounts have open cases and we don't want to try to sell them stuff when they are having support issues. So we can set up a custom report type that will show us opportunity details for the rows, but enforce the presence of the account object so that we can start a cross filter at the account level. What I'll do for that is, I might even have one already. I don't think so. So I'll just, what would we call that anyways? Okay, so let's start from scratch here. I'm going to create a custom report type. I want it to have accounts enforced in the object relationships, but I want the details to show me opportunity records. So I'm going to do something a little funny here. And I'm going to call this opportunities on accounts. One of the things I wish Salesforce would have done with their naming convention that I try to do with my custom report types, the first word you see is the records you're reporting on. And I try to make it clear here, there's a filter embedded in this custom report type, I'm looking at opportunities that specify an account. So my naming convention is opportunities on accounts. Each detail row represents an opportunity that specifies an account. Now, one of two things is true. Either you have a validation rule that makes sure every opportunity specifies an account. So even though there's a filter being applied here, it doesn't negatively impact your results because all of your opportunities specify an account. No harm, no foul. Or we wouldn't be able to get the results if the opportunity didn't specify an account. So filtering that out is actually a good thing in this scenario. I'll mark this as deployed. I'll go to the next page, and here's where I'm enforcing the objects that I need to enable the cross filter, but I'm fundamentally going to change what the results show me. So I actually want this report type to show me opportunity records. I just need them to always be related to an account and have that account enforced here in the object relationships. So I'm doing this on purpose. It is, I wouldn't call it a deluxe report type per se, but it's going to help us generate this report with this cross filter. Here's my opportunities on accounts, custom report type. Now I can go create a new report. Opportunities on accounts. I'll clear these default filters. And I don't know if this org has case data. Let's hope so. I'll add my cross filter, and what is different here is this show me, step one, I have the option to start my cross filter at either the account level or the opportunity level, because both those objects are enforced in the report type. So I'm looking at a list of opportunities with no other filters applied, but I can ensure that each opportunity is related to an account that has at least one case that is open. So I'll filter my cases for the closed field and make sure that is false. When I read this from top to bottom again, it's opportunities that specify an account. I have no field filters applied, but those accounts that these opportunities are related to have at least one case that is open. If I run these results, I will see that opportunity data. There's 38 records that meet that criteria. I could also add field filters here to say, well, I only really care about open opportunities. So I can also filter on the opportunity closed field, make sure that is false. Here are the open opportunities. So narrowing down my results, I can add the amount field as a column and see how much money is the support team holding up the sales team because they won't go close those cases, enabling us to further sell additional things to these clients. So we can also group this by account name if we need to, and have a nice clean report of the opportunities that are sort of stalled at the moment because we can't take them further along. Any questions about this so far?
I love this report. Question, can you also show the cases?
Right, that's normally what comes up. So this report has opportunities as the details. So it's something that, the sales team is going to care about so they can get these numbers. Sales team doesn't care about the cases. They just want to know that there are open cases holding them up. So they don't need it.
The service manager wants to know.
Yeah, service manager wants to know. So what we do is we would have a report that's sort of the opposite of this, where we're going to show cases on accounts. We would set up our cross filter to make sure there's open opportunities, and then we would filter our case records to show the open ones. That way we get the details on the case side, and we have the same filter corresponding to the sales side.
You were awesome, Evan.
Thanks. Is there another question there?
Awesome.
Yeah, you just blow this mind. So.
Yes.
I think I'm retiring.
You never retire.
No, he's not going to retire. It's interesting.
Let's do some other fun stuff. So we showed a couple examples with simple report types, getting a little more complex. We've done filtering on sibling records. But let's take a look at that without operator to see how that has an impact on things. Maybe we want to show a list of accounts that do not have any opportunities that closed this year. They are prime candidates for additional upselling. You know, we haven't approached them. They haven't closed anything this year. So let's find out who those accounts are, and we can go after them. So I'm going to build this.
Did you work for the same VP of sales? Those are the same questions I always get.
The same VP. Yeah, I mean, this could all correlate back to one. I made this all up, but yes, this is all in the same fictitious world that I'm building here. So the same VP, yeah, wants to go target accounts that don't have any opportunities this year. So I need a report type that will show me account records. Again, I could use accounts, the standard report type. I'm going to use my tried and true accounts deluxe report type, just so I have the extra flexibility. I will clear these default filters, and then I'm going to apply my cross filter. So in here, I'm going to say, show me accounts that don't have any opportunities. I think at this point, people understand what this cross filter is doing. Each one of these accounts, if you looked at the related list for opportunities, you would find nothing, right? Now, I mentioned earlier that this without operator is 100% opposite of the with operator. So remember when we were doing a with scenario, as we added criteria, our results got narrower and narrower. We had less and less records that met that criteria. When we use the without operator, it's opposite. So as I add conditions, I'm actually opening up my filter because I'm specifying what type of opportunities do I want to make sure the account doesn't have. Let's recap. At this point, it's saying accounts that don't have any opportunities at all, period. But if I say, show me accounts that don't have any opportunities with a close date of this year, I've opened up my results. I get more records with this filter applied because the account could have an opportunity with a close date in a previous year, could have an opportunity with a close date in a future year. The account just does not have any opportunities with a close date in this year. Does that make sense? Now, I will still find records that don't have any opportunities at all, but I will also see accounts that have opportunities from previous and future years. Again, we can further refine that cross filter to make sure the opportunity does not have a closed opportunity in this year. Again, opening up our results. So there could be open opportunities in the current year for these accounts, but there are no closed opportunities this year for any of these accounts. So this is what you would go back to your VP of sales with the 611 accounts that don't have any closed opportunities this year. Questions on that?
Hey. Oh, these reports are so interesting. I guess you could make it a little more expand and say, okay, what were the accounts that that had opportunities a year ago or 2 years ago, but not now?
Oh yeah, let's do that. So I have this first cross filter. I can add a second one. So I could say accounts that had opportunities closed last year. So that if you're looking for like people who haven't renewed yet, it's a really good example here. So taking these two cross filters together, I'll say the close date was last year, relative date last year, and then I'll make sure that the stage is closed one for last year. So here, run this report and look at the filters. I'm looking at a list of account records, all owners, created date, all time. Each one of these accounts does not have any opportunities with a close date of this year that is closed, and at the same time, those accounts have an opportunity with stage equals closed one, and a close date of last year. So these are my two accounts that essentially have not renewed. They had closed deals last year. They have nothing that's closed this year. And that's by adding these two cross filters together. And as I mentioned before, they're always joined together with AND logic between the two cross filters. And if I had any field filters, that would also be AND logic from the field filter down to the cross filter section. Even if you do filter logic, you're only able to reference your field filters here. There's no option to reference your cross filters.
No, you say you are making your partner.
He's just blowing your minds so long.
I don't understand what you're because for me it's like an end, but
These are on cross filters, but you can make all inside cross filters. But because you have another issue.
yes, but you do.
Well, ask them.
Can you elaborate slowly when you can use or and when you cannot use or?
So, yeah, if you have field filters here, you can do filter logic between your field filters. Your cross filters are always joined together with those using AND. So when you see this line, it's this and this and this and this other cross filter. The only time you can like apply ORs is between your field filters. So I could say 1 or 2. And that's saying for my account records, all time, created all date, either active is yes, no, or blank, or the created date is 2 years ago. And the account does not have any opportunities with a close date of this year that is closed. And the account has an opportunity, at least one opportunity, with a close date of last year and a stage of closed one.
I think I got it. Different conditions, that's why they don't lie to each other.
Okay, anything else on this presentation?
I just one quick comment. I'm pretty sure I didn't hear about this. So if you wanted to show any data from those cross-filtered records,
Yeah.
really I think the only way you would do it is you'd have to create a field on the object, on the main object you're reporting on, in order to be able to access, like to actually show data in the report, right?
Yeah. And a lot of these examples are like, we specifically want a deduplicated list of accounts, so we don't need to see any of those opportunities. If you want to see opportunity details, then you want to work with an Opportunities Deluxe custom report type, and that'll show you the opportunity details. Now, you can get into situations where you see the details and you have a cross filter anyways, right? So that you could show me all the accounts that have opportunities that closed this year, and those accounts had an opportunity that closed last year. You could filter your opportunity records for the this year records and have that cross filter, making sure that the account has an opportunity that closed last year, even though you won't see last year's data. Or you can flip flop it and say, show me last year's data, and do a cross filter to make sure the account has an opportunity for this year. So there are some interesting nuances you can create by combining the cross filter along with the detail records you're cross filtering against.
I guess I was thinking about, when I think about data, maybe it's more like summarized data. So if you want to see summarized data of some sort, you can't reference it in a formula, row level formula field.
No.
So it would have to be done on the object level, in a field.
Yeah. Or you could use, opportunities on accounts, custom report type, and
Right. Then you have access to the field.
Group, and then you group by the account name, and then you'll get your aggregate for things like opportunity amount if you wanted to do that. And the benefit there is it's it's responding to your report filters, so you don't have to go create rollups for every situation and grouping. You,
Yes.
yeah, you just build it all into your report.
That's right. That's good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely. I have one final example here, sort of bringing everything together. We kind of already did it actually, so it was using a with filter and a without filter at the same time. So this example was contacts who responded to a campaign and are related to accounts with no open cases, meaning they like attended your webinar and they don't have any open support issues right now, so they're prime candidates for you to ask for an additional sale. You could generate that list of contacts, you could save the report and add them to an upcoming campaign, and all of this can be done without exporting any details to Excel and applying manual filters to your data.
Hey, Evan, since you are expert on use of reports, do you have another presentation that talks about how to embed reports to the detail pages, to the home pages, to other things that is kind of can bring audience to open mind about how to leverage this great engine that we have access to, but nobody is using it effectively.
So are you asking more about like where you can display your report results, or more about like training people for these concepts?
Either way, it's because you can embed report in with chart or without chart to your
Right.
detail page.
Yeah.
You can embed report to home page.
Yeah.
You can use it to kind of have low code solution for so many things that can be handy for who needs this kind of information, summarized or not.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't have a presentation on that yet, but that's a great idea. I could talk more about like deploying all these reports once you've built them. But yeah, there's lots of great use cases for report charts on record detail pages. I think dashboards by itself could be multiple sessions on cool things you can do with dashboard filters. I have a couple blog posts about that. You'll find that in the resources that I linked to earlier. But yeah, there's a ton you can do to distribute this information once you've built something really cool and really useful.
Yeah, anyhow, if you come up with something, we would
Sure.
like to get back.
Okay.
I said
Yeah.
you're a very good presenter, and
Thank you.
we
Yeah,
enjoyed the way how you laid it up. Very good job, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to attend as many Dreaming events as I can. They had a True North Dreaming in Ottawa a few years ago in 2019. So if any of you were there, I was there. And I think they're bringing it back, and they'll have it either this summer, this upcoming summer, or another time. But I hope to attend that as well.
Good. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you gotta plug that back in, otherwise. Evan, just a second, I'll turn on the camera again. I just am so impressed. First of all, you built me out of a real jam. Thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
But your techniques is, have you ever created a dashboard with all these ideas to show your customers?
Not with just all the ideas. I've had a couple dashboards that show some really powerful concepts that I talk about on the blog. But no, never just like a demonstration of like cross filters on its own.
Anyways, I'm going to give you a personal call one day. But anyways, it's about that topic itself.
Okay.
Anyways, do you have any other questions for Evan? You know what? It's really amazing. Only 2 people dropped out, which is truly amazing.
Yeah.
So you definitely got our attention, and thank you for your presentations.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. So moving on to the agenda item, now we're just quickly, we're going to talk about the next few meetings. Yu Wang, are you still on the phone call here?
I
No.
think they had to drop.
Yeah.
They posted in the chat.
you is doing the next meeting in December. Fred, what day did he say the meeting was gonna be? Or has that not been confirmed?
And that hasn't been set yet.
Okay. But it's when are you coming to Ottawa?
Yes, so it would be when I'm going, so I was looking at December, it's a Monday or a Tuesday, December 11th or 12th.